Hey, welcome, Art 100ers. This is the first week of November, and today's lesson is going to be how to make a linear perspective drawing. So, today we're going to learn how to make something look three-dimensional on the paper. So, I am going to get you my paper here, and we are going to start out by turning the paper so you can see it more efficiently. Um, There we go. All right. So the first thing I have to do on a linear perspective drawing is that I have to put what we call a horizon line. So I'm going to draw just a simple horizon line at the 3/4 point of my paper. So I'm going to use a ruler. Most people like to use a ruler. I have been teaching it both ways now, with a ruler and without. So this is my horizon line. And the horizon line is where the earth here meets the sky here. Now, it's also referred to as eye level. So we could, it's where the height of my eye is at or where my eye is looking at. So you can have mountains on your horizon line. And go ahead and draw that in. Those are a part of where this is the earth, this is the sky, but my eye level will be at the base of the mountain. So this is called our true horizon line or our true eye level, and this is our implied horizon line, which is not a real horizon line. Now, I'm going to add an X on my line. This is going to be what we call a vanishing point. And a vanishing point is where our eye is looking in the landscape or in the picture. So the vanishing point is where our eye is focused. Now, we don't keep our eye focused on one spot at any given moment. So what happens is this is where my eye is looking in just one moment in time. So we don't have to have multiple vanishing points right now. We just have to have one. So we take a moment where we look at this, we take our phone, we take a picture, and we have a Snapchat, and that's where we use this X. Now, all my lines that are vertical, that go up, are going to be parallel to the edge of my paper. So just like this line, all the lines that are horizontal are going to be parallel to the top and bottom. Any lines that aren't vertical or horizontal are going to all disappear to the vanishing point. So if you imagine a row of corn and how when you're looking at the corn, you can see the one row, but then all the other rows seem to go towards it. Or if you're on a highway, the highway disappears into the distance and all the telephone poles or electrical poles all disappear into that same spot. So just to give you a simple idea of what's going to happen. So to draw something simple, I'm going to start by drawing a square over here on this side of my paper. Now, it doesn't have to be a perfect square, but I want my left and right side to be vertical. They should be parallel to the left and right side. My top and bottom should be parallel to the horizon line and to the edges of my paper. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create this square and I'm going to turn it into a cube. To turn it into a cube, I'm going to label this A, this B, this C, and this D. Now, every corner that can be drawn to the vanishing point, I'm going to draw. So I'm going to use what I call a perspective line. There's a fancier term for it. So I'm going to put my pencil here on my vanishing point. I'm going to swing my ruler so that it touches the corner, and I'm going to draw a line. When I draw with a ruler, notice I kept my pencil straight up and down. I didn't turn it at an angle. So you want to make this line as light as possible. I'm making it kind of dark so you can see it, but we need to be able to erase these at a certain point. Now I'm going to go to the line corner B. I do the same thing, and I draw my line. Now I'm going to go, can I draw a line to line C? Not if this square is solid because it goes through. So I cannot draw that line. So now I'm going to go to D, and I can draw line D. Now, I can see this side, I can see this side, I just can't see that side. Now, so I have what looks like a square that, if I imagined, was driving all the way from here and disappears in the distance. I could turn this into a train, I could turn it into a pencil, but it's just going all that way. Now I need to redraw that. That line's a little wonky. Okay. Now, to finish my cube, I'm going to draw a horizontal line that matches line AB. So the line that connects here, in old math terms, this line segment is line A to B. So I have to draw a line that matches this. So sometimes I'll take my ruler and I'll put it here, and then I'll just slide my ruler up, trying to keep it even, and I'll draw myself a line. You can freehand it, but you don't want this line to be crooked. And what I mean by that is, some people will make a line like this. Some people will draw a line that comes straight out and it'll look like that. What we want is the line that is parallel and it matches right there. So now, once I have AB drawn, so here's my second AB, I have to draw A and D. So that's going to be a line that goes, it's vertical and it's going to be parallel to the vertical. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to pull my ruler until I get to the intersection of A, and then I'm going to draw my D. Now be careful, a lot of people like to draw that straight line again, and it'll look weird. So now I have a top and a bottom. I can take an eraser and I can erase my lines. And I now have a cube. So one of the things I like to do is imagine that there is a sun. So I'm going to put my sun in this corner. It's going to shine down and it's going to create a shadow that comes off. And I could do this as a vanishing point, and I could draw from that corner, and I could draw from this corner, and I can draw myself a shadow that's going to match and that line's going to be parallel to that one. Actually, that one's going to go there. So I drew that wrong to begin with. And there's my shadow. So now I can take and I can shade my shadow in. And I could shade this side in too, and that'll make it look much more. And if I wanted to, I could make it darker. I'm going to cross hatch it. I'm going to put a little shadow there. Notice I'm going over my cast shadow. And then I'm going to go here and I'm going to add a little bit more. All right. So there's box number 1. So what I'm looking for you to do is to give me 3 box shapes, 1 irregular shape. So a shape like that. So 4 total below the line. And then I would like you to play around with 1 box above and 1 irregular box here. So just to show you how that works, I'm going to start here. I could label again, go A, B, C, D, E, and it would be F. So I'm going to draw from this corner. Then I can't draw from B because it goes through. I can draw from C. I can draw from D. I can draw from E. And I can draw from F. Now, same rule. I'm going to determine how wide I want this to be. So then I'm going to put and draw it out. It's going to go that wide. That line needs to be parallel to that one. Now, the intersection here is going to be fed with this line. So I'm going to make that parallel. I pull this down till I meet that intersection, and it only goes to there. Now I got this line. So now I'm going to draw, and it's going to go to here. Then I'm going to go over here, and this is going to be A and C, and it goes to here. Now, the last word I'm going to mention here is foreshortening. So I'm going to shade this in so you can see this. This should be all shaded because it's underneath and away from our sun. I'm going to make those so now you can see the difference. Now, technically, if you wanted a shadow for this, you could draw a line down and a line down, and then you would repeat that. You'd make a and then the shadow could be down here and it would be floating. Now it looks like it's floating up there. Now, what we are showing you here is perspective. It's called linear perspective. This is actually called 1-point perspective. And 1-point perspective is where we have one vanishing point. Now, just to point out, this part that goes from here to here, this is called foreshortening. And foreshortening is where something gets shorter or smaller as it goes away from us. As it gets closer to us, it will get bigger. Now, another thing to imagine is, and that I didn't do in this picture, but things that are closest to us. So if I drew a person standing here, I could draw the person about to pick up the box, and this person could be standing like this. There's their eyeballs, their nose, and their mouth. Now, he is the largest object because he's closest to us. But then if he goes perspectively into the background, I could draw my next person, and my next person would go here. I could actually draw so I know where his waist goes. So I get the same size person. Notice his hands go to the same height and his head goes. Then there could be another person here. Notice their feet go. And then he just keeps getting smaller and smaller as he goes farther away. All right, so your assignment today is to remember that you're going to draw 4 boxes below. I would like them all going to the vanishing point. And then shade them in, create a shadow. That comes off of it. So we see, so we see the shadow. And that's going to go to the vanishing point. And then 4 below and 2 above. 2 of them have to be irregular. So try that out. Remember, objects that are closest to us are larger. Objects that are farther away are smaller. Now, foreshortening is the big word here. When I draw something foreshortening, if I'm pointing my hand at you, my arm is foreshortened. See how my arm looks shorter? My hand looks larger. If I turn it this way, you can see that my hand and my arm are normal length. But when I bring it like this, now my fingers and everything get bigger than my arm. So that's called foreshortening. All right, that's our lesson today and this week. Just read over linear perspective again. We're going to be talking about time and motion next week, but this week it's about linear perspective. Oh, next week we're going to be doing atmospheric perspective. So we'll work on, you need to hang on to your sea serpent drawing because we're going to put atmospheric perspective on that. Sweet. Talk to you later.